When it comes to in-ears, I always like a dual driver setup. I love to have a dynamic driver for the mids and the lows, and then a balanced armature. And it's great to see that EarFun have not given up on this. They still are a believer in having not just a single driver, but the dual driver setup. And this is what we get with these. This is here the AirPro 4 Pluses from EarFun. So they're using Bluetooth 6. We've got multi-device connectivity. ANC is up to 50 decibels reduction. I can tell you now, a bit of a spoiler, testing it out. It works extremely well and probably the best I've heard out of in-ears to date for this year. Sound quality wise, the same. These are, I think, the best of 2025, under $100 US, that price point. We get LDAC support too, so if you do like that high-end codec, which is 3 times the bitrate of SBC, well, you're gonna love it because these do support that. And even Qualcomm's aptX adaptive codec is there. And finally, battery runtime, impressive. We get 12 hours on a single charge, that's with the ANC off, and with the case here, 54 hours in total. All right, so what's included? In the box there, you will find there is some paperwork. Now, we get the usual user guide warranty card. However, there's a few things that you don't normally see, and that is this right here, which is an extended warranty. So if you register the product, it's up to 24 months. That's excellent. And there's this little guide on cleaning them, and including here the little tool. So this is something that other brands do not include. I don't think I've seen any other brand that's done this, and really good to see that. So they like their products to be well maintained, so you can clean the charging contacts on there and the inside mesh. And then we have our user guide that looks to be in English and Japanese, this one here only. And then in this little tiny box, we have the different silicone ear tips. Now, it comes with the mediums. They fit me really fine out of the box, which is great. But you do have the smaller size ones and then the larger ones there, and nicely laid out there, which is very good. And then finally, there is this, which is a charging cable. So this is type A to type C. Charge time is around about 2 hours. And remember, on a single charge, they go up for 12 hours on a single charge, and then 54 hours in total with the case. So battery life is fantastic on these. So weight-wise, they are good. You can see at 5 grams each, the EarBuds, and our total travel weight is 54 grams, and that matches the 54 hours with the case that they can last for. Now, of course, when we talk about that battery runtime, the maximum spec there, that is with the ANC off and not using the LDAC codec. So like I mentioned in the intro, LDAC support with them, and you get aptX, which is great too, and they're using Bluetooth 6, so this is the latest generation. Qualcomm chip in it is the QCC 3091 with that aptX lossless codec, and they fit in there really nice and snug in the case. So there's a magnet that holds them into place, and does it rattle? No, passes my rattle test. It's a nice matte plastic too there, and I like the way the magnet's nice and strong, so it's not a flimsy feeling case. Type-C port there for charging at the bottom. You do have a button here, and yes, they do support multi-point connection with them, and they have wearing detection. These have pretty much everything that you can imagine you'd want, I think, in some ANC earbuds. So looking at them here, design very, very nice, good plastics, no sharp edges on them at all. They do have the 6 microphones in total with them, and we've got Quiet Smart 3.0 adaptive hybrid noise cancellation. That's up to a reduction of 50 decibels, I can tell you is really good. Capacitive touch controls on the rear here, and it does work really good with me. I have to say this is slightly better than what I'm typically used to with a capacitive touch. Sometimes it can miss it, but not often. The silicone tips, so as I said before, like I've got the mediums on. They work for me. There's the Pogo port charging contacts. You can see one of the mics right there, another one there, and one here up the top. And they are excellent. The design and just the build quality, I think, is very good. So there's other things to point out with them too. That's the fact that you've got in this a 10mm driver. Now, they're using also an ultralight feather, they call it, amateur driver in there. So that's going to handle our highs. That is our like tiny little tweeter there. So you get great highs out of these, very detailed. And I love that fact that it's a dual driver setup too. As I said there in the intro, it's about time we had some more dual drivers because I think it's the best combination. So 10mm, the dynamic driver, and that produces some really good bass, and I'll talk a little bit about what they sound like soon shortly. But overall, good build quality, great design to them, and I love the way they sit in there. Nice, strong magnets, certainly not weak at all. This is top quality from EarFun that I've come accustomed to from them. Now, sound-wise, these are absolutely fantastic. I think they're the best under $100 that I have tested this year, the EarFun Pro 4 Plus. The fact that we do have the LDAC support with it. We've got high-res audio wireless certified, and that bitrate is 3 times more than SBC codec, and it really does make a massive difference if you have high-quality source files. Your original file, like I'm using 320 kilobits per second at the moment. Of course, they're not in my ears, but when I do listen to it, you notice that difference. But we have that balanced armature. So that is their ultra lightweight feather balanced armature, they call it, and then the 10mm dynamic driver. So bass is powerful, surprisingly good. The mids are great. I feel it's a very good balanced tune. Out of the box, the tune is fantastic. There's details. Those highs are very crisp and detailed. Use LDAC, and boy, do you hear that difference. It really opens things up. And just like I said, I think these are the best I've listened to for active noise cancellation, and that active noise cancellation is really good too. It's up to 50 decibels reduction, and I'll show you in the app the different modes we do get with it, but sound quality wise, I mean, these are astounding. I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed. Top end volume is very good. I'm not hearing with these any clipping, any distortion. I wouldn't expect that from EarFun, and they really do, I think, have some amazing, good, high quality products, and better, and even put to shame some other brands out there, won't mention any names, that cost double the price of these. They are, I think, better. You're not going to be disappointed with just how these sound. It's fantastic. They are so good. Like any good brand, we do have an app, and the app support is excellent. What is covered, I will show you right now. So you can see battery life straight away of both of the earbuds. You can see the remaining charge with the case here. Oh, and to point out, I know I mentioned the battery life before, but in 10 minutes, you get around 3 hours of playback time. Again, that is with the noise cancelling off, and you're using the standard codec. You're not using LDAC. You have a low latency gaming mode. I'll talk a little bit more about that soon too in the next clip, but that lowers our latency to under 50 milliseconds, which is very good for Bluetooth. This is our active noise cancelling. So you got the normal mode, ambient sound, which brings in and draws in those background sounds, which is great if you're still maybe in an office environment, you need to hear people, or if you're out in the public somewhere walking, you need to hear approaching bicycles, cars, motorbikes, you name it. And then the noise cancelling, you've got various different options there, selecting that. So you have the AI Air Adaptive ANC, and then the environment adaptive ANC. So the 2 different modes there, and then you've got the manual adjustment you can go along and do yourself. Now, if you happen to be out walking in, it's quite windy or something, and you're finding that annoying, then the wind noise cancelling mode does come in handy. I got to actually test that today. It's been a little bit windy, and it does make a difference. You certainly know that. And the ambient noise cancellation. So again, I did play some, like I always test out with my audio, very noisy ambient track of London Victoria Station, and just crank that up really high, and it does such a good job to block it all out. You can still hear some things, but a huge difference. And I have to say, for in-ears, probably the best that I've heard so far this year, and it especially blocks out really well. I found like fan noise from gaming PCs or gaming laptops. It seems to completely just knock that on its head. You can't even really hear the noise at all in the background, which is excellent. You have the equalizer. I've been testing out the default one. You've got your own custom ones. You can set your own sound profile, and then your typical presets here for the equalizer. So if you want to make your own custom one, you can go along and change that. So that's pretty standard and straightforward. Now you can disable the controls on them if you wanted to. That's a good option to have if you're accidentally triggering it. The in-ear detection, you can disable that as well. And then if you have an Android device that does support it, you can go and enable things like this. You've got the Qualcomm aptX Adaptive, the lossless mode too as well, or LDAC, you can turn that on if you want the sound quality first. And it's good to see that they do put a little bit of a warning in there about may reduce battery life. Well, we know that it will. It probably drops the battery life down, I would estimate, around 40%. It does make a massive difference. It depends on your volume. You've got LE audio too as well. Find the headphones so they make a beeping noise too. It's handy if you think you've lost it down the side of a couch or something. And then the firmware updates, well, that is through this as well. It actually pops up automatically and tells you if there is an update there available. So great application that they have, EarFun, for the Air Pro 4 Plus and, well, all their other audio. Now, testing them out, watching an episode of The Witcher. This is season 4, and it is going in time, the audio with the actor's mouths, and this is using the gaming mode, so that's the low latency mode that I just talked about before. So under 50 milliseconds, so ultra low latency mode there. It means that I'm not really seeing it, not here with video. It is perfectly watchable and fine. Doesn't annoy me. Where I have noticed it a fraction of a split second is gaming still. So it's never going to be perfect, I don't think, with Bluetooth for gaming. But for video, this is fine. I can happily watch this episode. And I don't get annoyed by the fact that it's going to be lagging behind because I really cannot tell any difference at all. It seems to be perfectly in time. So I'm recording now with our EarFun Air Pro 4 Pluses, and this is again with an ambient track that is London Victoria Station. I've turned it up to a very loud level, and you probably can't even hear it at all in the background. So we've got those 6 mics, and they're using AI to make sure the voice call quality is clear, and that's what we want. And I think so far, I mean, this is very good. It's quite loud, that track that I'm playing, and it's doing an excellent job. So the connection is pretty much straight away. As soon as you open that case and take them out, put them in, they are connected up and you're listening to your music. So we have multi-device connectivity, as I mentioned in this video. I think at the intro there too as well. So that means you can connect up various different devices. You can have your tablet, you can have your phone connected to them, and you can do it via the application. And with these, the ANC that I talked about briefly as being excellent. So up to 50 decibels reduction. I found them to be really impressive using the different custom modes, and we've got the AI adaptive ANC. It works really well. So I played things like an aircraft cabin, bus, London tube train, and just played those tracks because I couldn't physically be there. But the next best thing I think is to play very loud, at least what I feel like was a normal level of those ambient sounds. And boy, did it cut that right back. Now, it won't be able to get rid of like screaming babies, and you can still just hear people talking that are right next to you and things like that, but it does a great job of just reducing those volumes. And what I love about them is the size and the weight of them. As I showed you, 54 grams only, fit in that little jeans pocket. So they're great for traveling. Then you also get the really good noise reduction. So the sound quality out of them, if you're using LDAC, then of course you're getting the, well, 3 times more bit rate versus SBC codec. And that really opens up the high end. You don't get that ugly compression that you get with, say, the SBC codec, and of course it all depends on your original files. You need to use, say, FLAC files or MP3s. They're at least 300, I think 320 kilobits per second to benefit from LDAC, and that's when you hear the balanced armature really come into play. You get some really nice crisp highs, great detail, vocals sound great, and bass still is impressive with a 10mm driver. You have the IP55, so sweat, water is not going to be a problem at all with these. Really good battery life for 54 hours in total, up to 12 hours in a single charge. Now, word of warning, as most of you probably know, at least with LDAC, you're losing about 40% battery. So it's not going to be 12 hours anymore if you use LDAC, the active noise cancellation. It is more like then about 7, 8 hours. So there's quite a bit of a difference there. So when you travel, especially long haul flights like I do, you got to balance that out. Should I be using LDAC now? Does it really matter? Or you want the battery life? And I often, in those situations, go, okay, I need the battery life with them. So they're very comfortable, impressive sound quality from EarFun. They come highly recommended. The Air Pro 4 Pluses, they are, I think, under 100 US dollars, the best that I have encountered this year. Thank you so much for watching this video.